SHS, 3 chords. I didn't even understand what the chords meant, but I was so bent on learning the piano that those were the only 3 chords I could play, and I cherished them so much that even though I didn't understand how to use them, I would play them anyway. And mind you, I didn't even have a keyboard. Yeah, and I had short fingers. Now, I was in a branch then. I was in the New Barry branch. I wasn't in Kodesh or anything. So here's the other twist to it. I've never been in White Church or any of the usual places most of you have been in. I started in a branch far away, far from any lighthouse headquarters. I was in the New Barry branch. My pastor was Pastor Zoro. We didn't have a keyboard. We didn't have a keyboard in our church. We used to meet in the classroom, had pews in church. And then one day my pastor decides to buy a keyboard. Well, he hadn't bought a keyboard yet. Actually, one day someone brought a toy keyboard to church. What was the size of the keyboard? I think it would be the size of maybe 2 octaves. For those of you who play keyboard, just about 2 octaves. I don't know how to describe 2 octaves, but it's a type of keyboard that when you play, it lights up. So I think it had like these colored lights underneath the keys. I think it was for maybe the person's son, or like a 6-year-old or a 4-year-old. The person just brought the keyboard to church, and I don't know, that was the day I fell in love with the keyboard. I don't think I left church early that day. After church, I stayed. I played all those 3 chords that I knew. I played them over and over and over and over again, even though I didn't understand what I was playing. Some weeks later, my pastor decided to buy a keyboard for the church, and he was like, "Hey, we are buying a keyboard for the church, so we need people to learn how to play the keyboard." And I'm like, okay, I don't really know how to play the keyboard. My mom promised to take me to piano school, but it never happened. I'm in SSS now. I don't think it will ever happen, and I only know 3 chords. So how are we going to do this? But I remember telling myself that I'll be the first person to play that keyboard. Whichever keyboard it will be. I know there were people who were taking piano classes then. In church. There are people who were even thinking of enrolling in piano school and all that. And I used to feel underprivileged and all that. But I would just tell myself that, hey, when the keyboard comes, I will be the first person to play it. And well, true to the fact, when the keyboard came, I think I was the first person to play that keyboard with my 3 chords. Yeah. And yeah, I played those 3 chords for a long time. I played so many songs with those 3 chords. And then after a while, I asked my pastor if I could keep the keyboard, because, well, since I'm the one playing the keyboard, why not be the one who keeps the keyboard? And my pastor was like, yeah, you can keep the keyboard, why not? I also didn't live far from church, so yeah, it was also convenient. So I would keep the keyboard, bring it to church, bring it for rehearsals, bring it early to church, do a setup. Jeremy says 145. Yes, that's a 145. Yeah, so I'd keep the keyboard at home, And then when everybody was asleep, and I'm talking midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. thereabout, when my brothers, my sister is asleep, well, the whole house is asleep, that is when I start practicing, because that's the only time I have peace. And I used to share a room with my brother, so the only time I could rehearse was when he was sleeping. So I would stay up. I remember the first song I learned was a Hill song. It was a cassette I bought. What was the album? The album was Shout to the Lord, and it had the song. Yeah, it had those songs. Shout to the Lord. It had Father of life, draw me closer. Lord, my heart set on you. La, da, 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 da. And I didn't understand anything they were playing in the song. The only thing I could do was to try and replicate what I was hearing from the song. And believe me, I couldn't learn the songs. The only thing I could learn from the song was the intro. And so now I can remember the intro. It goes something like da 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 da. And that was the only thing I learned from that song. And believe me, I learned that phrase, the thing I just sang, da 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 da. I learned it in like 2 weeks, because every night I would learn like 3 notes. I would play rewind, play rewind, play rewind, play, and it was a cassette. There were no CDs. I don't think there were CDs. Well, there were probably CDs, but I didn't have a CD player, so I had a cassette, a Walkman or something. So I'd play rewind, play rewind, play rewind, and then try and figure out what they were playing. Back then, I knew. I think the keyboardist for Hillsong was Russell Fraga, yeah, an old man. And that's the thing. That's the thing for me. Over the years, for any music that I've learned, I try to know who the pianist is. I don't know. That's personally for me. I try to know who's the author of the music, or who's the author of whatever I'm learning. It helps me understand the voice behind what I'm learning. It's more like listening to a message or listening to the voice of God. You when you listen to a message over and over, or let's say you pray, you read the word of God, you meditate on the word of God, you get to a point where you can hear the voice of God, or you can identify the voice of God amongst other voices. And it's the same thing for me with the keyboard. So whenever I'm hooked onto something, like when I'm learning a song, or when I hear something that I like, I try to figure out, who played this, or who's behind this, and I try to figure out who the pianist is, or who made this music, and I try to find out what other things they've worked on, or what other things they've played on. Yeah. So that was just, so that's how come I know the name of who was playing the keyboard for Hillsong back then. So that was Russell Fraga. I know his daughter started singing with Hillsong United then and all that. Yeah, so that's it. From there, I started going for Tuesday services at the Lighthouse Cathedral at Kolegono. That was Kolegono then. And I remember because of the distance, would usually get to church, the cathedral late. And not so late, but usually would miss praise and worship. But then during the service, sometimes would catch the end of the praise and worship, would hear some of the music, and I would hear some of the good music at the cathedral and all that, and I'd be like, man, when am I going to ever play this well? I mean, when am I going to play like all these good musicians up there? And I remember telling my music director then, Reverend Eric Agbeko, I used to tell him, wow, I would really love to meet the musicians. And he was like, hey, why? Don't be shy. I told him I was shy. I always saw the stage as a no-go area. It's like, hey, no, who are you? You are from the backside of the desert. You cannot come here and all that. I mean, who are you to go and talk to anybody on stage? So I never had the courage to ever go and speak to anybody. And he was like, no, I'll take you to the stage. So he held my hand, took me to the stage. I met Ren Albert, Jerry, and all the musicians there. And I would say that was a turning point for me. That was a turning point for me because when you're able to meet people who can guide you, people who can sort of show you the way, people who can say, hey, this is not the right way to do it, do it this way, or this is the right way to practice, or this is the wrong way to practice. It saves you all the years of experimentation. And I think that's what happened to me that Tuesday. That Tuesday saved me many years of experimenting, and I'm really grateful for that day. So yeah, I asked so many questions that day. So many questions. I don't think they saw it coming. I asked so many questions, and that's how it started. They would give me weekly assignments, go and learn all the 12. I remember he would be like, there are 12 major chords, there are 12 minor chords, go and learn all of them. Next week come and play me all the 12 major chords without thinking about them. And then I'll do it, and I'll do the assignment faithfully. The following week he'll be like, that 12 minor chords, go and learn all of them and come and play it for me next week. And mind you, the only time I would submit my homework was the next Tuesday, and there was not much YouTube then and all that, so everything had to be hands-on. There was not much referencing. So those were really great times. Guiding, mentoring me, and all that. And showing me the way. Yes, so that was really how do I put it? A really transformation point in my life. Meeting Jerry, TM, and all these other people. And then the other thing they introduced me to was learning songs. So ear training, how to learn songs, pick out chords and all that. And like I said, I never had any formal training. So most of the assignments had to do with, hey, go and learn the song. Listen to the song, try and figure out what the chords are and all that. And I think I never wanted to disgrace myself, or not like disgrace myself. I think I set standards that are too high for myself. So I wouldn't want to come out as not doing the assignments properly. So I would put in the necessary effort to get the best output as much as possible. So yeah, he would give me a full song. He would be like, I remember he would give me songs by Lamar Campbell and all that. It's like, here I am, Lord, my life is in your hands. Take and use me. If you get one chord wrong, trust me, he's going to get you for it. So I would learn all those things, and yeah, I would make mistakes, get corrected, and all that. And that process also built my ears very well. To the extent that now I actually prefer learning songs by ear. If you gave me a video breakdown of a song, I would prefer to actually listen to the song and figure out what was played in the song than to watch a video breakdown of the song. When I got to campus first year and all that, it was like, oh wow, who's this guy who can play and all that. But most of the work, or most of the foundational work, let me put it that way, had been done while I was home. Before university. So for me, playing the piano really started late. I think I was 18. When I look at the journey from SS3 all the way to university, from 18 years old upwards. That's when I really got into piano. So I played for the choir first year, second year. I think level 300, I started volunteering for Healing Jesus campaigns. I was in school, but then I would still go for Healing Jesus campaigns. I'd go volunteer, go and help out, come back. I would join, anything that had to do with evangelism, working for God and all that. I would try and do the best that I could, unless maybe there was something that would prevent me from being there. And I think that's how I met Bishop Dag. I know you'd want to ask how I started playing for Bishop Dag, so let me answer it now. I don't know how I started playing for Bishop Dag. I'd say it's by the grace of God. It's by the grace of God, because I don't know. I don't think I qualify in any way. I don't know what he was looking for. I don't know how he decided to choose me for the work, but I believe it's by God's grace.